Paper's out. Yes, yes, paper was out more hours ago, 2 hours ago. Paper's out, paper's out. We have Mike. Paper is out, yes, thank you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Saturday morning. Okay, what's up today? We got a ton of stuff here. Carving has been continuing. I carved all day yesterday, the first good, long, beautiful carving day I've had in months, perhaps years, I don't know. Carving is going to continue. This morning we'll be working on the, we'll get to it, we'll be working on the butterfly wings this morning. At the end of the stream we do have a traditional show and tell, woodblock prints to show, nothing like the strange stuff I've shown recently. But before I can work, I've got to get rid of this stuff. Let's have a look at some of it. These are printers. The printers have been working like crazy, delivering stuff to me. Today I have to check these, count these, send them all off. You know what this is? Another batch. Why are half of them upside down? Don't know. Have to see. We're getting ready for the year-end gift season. I don't know if there really is going to be a gift season this year, but we're getting ready for it. All of our common, the prints in our Hunger Club series. We are printing to get ready for September, October, November. The printers have mixed feelings about these small prints, because they're small and the price is what it is, 4,000 yen. The printers get a good cut of that, but they don't earn as much as they do with larger prints. What's this? Oh yeah, another one. So. This is from Chiharu-san. She's done another nice job on this. So we're stocking up. We're getting stock ready of all of our gift prints. And the schedule at the moment is the page will open a month early. We normally open on October the 10th or 20th, and we're going to open in September the 10th this year. Is this top secret? It isn't anymore. This is the October print. Is Jed there? I doubt it. He's busy. This is the October print in this year's series. And oh, it's got a cut corner. What did Dei-chan do? She put one on top of the cut corner. No idea. We'll have a look at it. And you know which movie this is, of course. Which is better, this one, this one? Another nice, pleasing print. Very, very pleasing print. They've done a good job. Dei-chan did the first batch, Ishikawa-san's doing the second batch, and I'm not sure yet who's scheduled for the third batch. It might be Chiharu-san. I don't really know. Recognize the trees? We've seen them before to show. The trees are Hasui trees. I know, no, not to be sarcastic here. Jed has taken a lot of influences. We want to make these prints look like they're part of the tradition, the Japanese tradition, So you can't draw everything always in a completely new, strange way. And the trees in the background, there are both levels of them, the ones in the far background and the ones behind the farm worker there. They are absolutely Hasui trees, both in the shape of the trees and in the fact that we've two-toned them. We've double-toned them there. There's a sort of a greenish at the top and a brownish at the bottom. And that's a Hasui trademark. I know he probably registered the trademark, I don't know. They're Hasui trees. That's my job after we finish the stream here. I've got to check all of those, make sure they're okay, do any chiritori, taking out the bark specks, counting them so the printers get paid. Today is payday. Well, actually, it's Saturday, Soka. It'll be Monday that's payday. Let's find our focus and get to work. Pompoko. Well, it reminds me something about the stream I mentioned the save from the other day. We were doing the show and tell the other day with that roll of paintings that I got. And we were going through the paintings one by one by one. Yes, paper is out. That's the third time. So, paper is out. We were going through those paintings one by one, enjoying them and seeing what was coming up. And then at one point near the end of the roll, we got to something that wasn't quite clear, and it looked like a valley, And whatever, those of you who are here know what happened, that it turned out that it was upside down. But when I read the chat later, I saw that the moment we unrolled the thing, somebody, and it's a name I don't know, somebody said, it's upside down. She recognized right away. And I didn't happen to see that, whatever, so I blathered on, and the person was posting, it's upside down. They even changed to Japanese. It's upside down. I was the first to know, and I totally didn't get it. So somebody must have been extremely frustrated that he got it straight away, and that it took me and maybe a lot of other people a bit more time to figure out. So I can feel the frustration, and I apologize for not seeing it in the chat. Well, you know how it works. I cannot just sit here reading this thing all the time, so it's okay. I get my pleasure later on when I read it. There was a bot malfunction the other day. We didn't really notice it. It was the day when we were outside in Ome running through the stream, and perhaps because I used multiple streaming sources, the bot got confused by that. And I got no chat that day, so I have no idea what people were saying. A ding sound when something goes array, but it's a question of feedback. We have my mail set up. There is supposedly a ding when mail comes from Twitch, but it's a 5-minute mail check, so. Yeah, it made for a nice ending. It was funny, but I can feel that person's frustration. We're sitting here. It's a bit of a strange valley, and this person instantly understood it was upside down. So I can feel it. Okay, we've got a wing. Just to recap what's happened here. When last time I spoke to you on Thursday, I was carving dragonfly body to show. I was over here carving the dragonfly body. And I did the rest of it here. I did the calligraphy and did a borderline for this. And then yesterday morning, I moved ahead, pasted down the exact same hunch that pasted it down again, and got started on the dragonfly wings. And these are going to be printed in Karaziri format in the final print, I think. And I was really beavering away yesterday afternoon. I thought, I can finish, but then, if I finish, I won't have anything for the stream tomorrow, because I haven't done the other color separations yet. So we're going to work on this wing today. And then I'll do the color separations later this afternoon. And when we come back Monday morning, I guess we'll be carving color blocks, or maybe they'll be finished. How will the marks work on the antennas? I don't know. I don't understand what you're meaning. How will the marks work on the antennas? I don't know what you mean. Paper marks. Antennas. I don't even know there's no antennas here. Are there? Are there antennas here? I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean. So, the registration marks. So we know when we're printing. The registration marks are here already. There's a corner and a line, and I put the paper in the corner on the line, pasted it down. I cut the corner and a line, put the paper in the corner and the line, and pasted it down. So the proof paper, I cut the registration marks first, anywhere, freestyle. Then put the paper, which was carefully trimmed, into them. And at printing time, we will be doing exactly the same thing. It's going to be a clean, simple print. A clean, simple print. Oh, actually, Soka. I've got to sharpen up. It's not broken, but this is very delicate work, and I need a good edge on it, so we need to sharpen here. This print will be in the Mokuhankan catalog starting somewhere in mid-September, and it'll be on the Woodblock gift page. It's woodblock.com/gift. It'll be on that page probably September 10th, if I can get one ready for it. If I finish the body, why not test printing? I'm going to be doing test printing. Once I finish the wings here, I am going to take a proof print from these two blocks together, and then I will do what we call Kyogozuri. It's the printing from these two blocks together that will give me the information for making color blocks. So yes, once these two are finished, I will be test printing this. That's the bevel surface, and now on the same stone, the 1000, we'll flatten the back. I think that's all it'll probably need. Yeah, it looks good. As I said, it wasn't broken, it just needed a touch up. The other side of that is a 400. This is a 1000. I use a 400 when we're broken. Move to a 1000 for the main sharpening. It's the one that would be called a nakato, middle stone. And we now finish on the shiageto, or literally finishing stone. Same name in English and Japanese. I don't know what number this is. It's just like a flat piece of marble or something like that. The only grit involved here is on the nagura. How old is the stone that is wet with water, not a wet stone? I don't know, I'm sorry, I know. I've had it for many, many years. It certainly was with me back in my Hamura home. You can see I made a special base to fit it. After the stone came, I made the base that fits it. Shouldn't disturb that actually really too much. I don't know. How old is the stone? Millions of years old. I don't know. That'll do me for the rest of my life, absolutely. It needs a bit of dressing at the moment. The finishing stone is now slightly dished in the middle. So it needs me to... I don't have a place in Asakusa to do that. Out in Ome, I have a place for dressing my stones. In the driveway out front, there's a concrete slab, which over the years I ground flat. And it's a really smooth concrete. You pour water on it, throw some mud on it, and put your stone face down. And the concrete, of course, grinds the stone flat. So I need to get that stone out there and do that. Can't wait for the next video. I was having such a nice day too. I don't know. I am struggling with video. I keep starting the preparation, getting it started, moving forward, getting it started. And then there's just so much work to do. But if I don't get a video done soon, the Patreon people are just gonna rebel and run away. Okay, I definitely need the scope for this. Let's have a go. Before we start, a tiny touch of camellia oil, and it turns it totally transparent. Look at that. You do not get any better than that. Totally transparent. There's nothing left on the wood surface but the design. Okay, where should we do this? Let's start with the edge. Ooh, sharp, dangerous. The drawing here, I had the concept for the print and gave it to Chon-san and Ei-chan, our young Hong Kong couple here. And because they can do brushwork much more nicely than I. They brushed these wings for me. I can draw it, but it would be clunky and clumsy. But the Chon-san drew it nicely. It's funny too, I did the 3 wings yesterday, and I met Ei-chan on the stairs just as she was leaving. And she said, "You haven't started the wings yet, have you?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're pretty much finished. I saved one for tomorrow's stream." And she's all like, "Oh no, Chon-san was so embarrassed about those. He really wants to redraw them." I'm like, "Well, I'm sorry, it's too late. They're done." And that's that couple. They're like this, If I didn't stop them, if I didn't push them forward, we would always be on square one. We would never get anything done, because they are the ultimate perfectionists. And I'm not, dissing them for this. I love what they're doing, but I need them. They're doing beautiful work, but they need me, because without me, they would just be on square one all the time. They would never, ever, ever get to square two. They're paralyzed by a fear that it could be, should be better, which is great. It's wonderful. I'm not, as I said, I'm not against this, but they really need me to say, look, that's enough. It's time to get going. And I really don't want to be the guy that says, oh, that's good enough, that's okay, because that's not our basic policy here. But at some point, no matter how glorious your goals are, at some point you do have to say, okay, that's good enough, let's go. It's a balance between the two, I guess you can see what I've done. On all the wide clearing is done. Normally it's stage 1, we cut the lines first. Then stage 2, we do the wide clearing. And then stage 3, we come up to the edge of this. But what I don't want to do is sit here on a bare, full block and cut these fine lines and then whack around them with a big chisel. And whenever I do this on stream, people are, oh wow, he's coming so close to the lines, look how cool that is. But it's not a bad idea maybe to do the big, wide, noisy clearing first on some cases when the entire rest of the block is going to be delicate carving. So that's it. So I did the wide clearing first, coming up to within, whatever it is, a millimeter or so. And then we'll do this and finish with this. So I don't need to hit the block with a big chisel after all this delicate work is done. Actually, this corner's already done because I did that last night. And this block, the current intention on this block, and again, we haven't done test printing yet, but the current feeling is that these wings, this will be a karazuri block, an embossing block. And that they won't be printed. There will be a base, faint tint under the wings, but the wings themselves will be embossed. Seems like you're okay. Yesterday doing these 3 wings here, it's a really pleasant day for me. It was just so much fun. I haven't had a completely smooth, free carving day in a long time. And some of the staff came. There were 3 staff. Rei-chan was printing upstairs, Aoyama-san and Yamada-kun came. And in the morning, I started really early in the morning, about 6:30 or so. And when they got here about 9:30, they came over to my bench and said, okay, let's do the recap of that meeting from the accountant yesterday. And I'm like, I just looked up and said, no. And they're like, we got to do this. We've got to balance these books, And I'm like, sorry guys, no. You have lots of work to do too. Go. Just leave me alone today. I was not unfriendly. I wasn't yelling at him, but just I was really adamant. Leave me alone. And they backed away and spent their day upstairs doing their own work, And that's what I need to do now with the YouTube video. As soon as I get the test proof of this print finished, the next job has got to be the next YouTube video. And if anybody comes near me, I'm going to have to do the same thing. Get away from me. also I can report that this is a wonderful, wonderful piece of wood. You know, I really got surprised the other day, last week, when I pulled this wood out of the storeroom. Those of you who know our schedule these days, our situation these days, we're struggling very much with trying to find good wood. And we've got our wood cut into certain size pieces for our Ukiyo Heroes, for our Journeys in Japan series and stuff like that. And we've been mostly using the wood we get cut into those standard pieces. We have very, very few pieces of wood left in random pieces like this for the gift prints. So anyway, long story short, when I pulled the wood out of the shelf, it turns out that this is from a bunch of wood that we haven't looked at in years. The code written on the edge of this block says it's a YH code. It came from Yahoo Auctions. And it's a glorious, glorious piece of wood. It was rock hard when I did the one I did yesterday, the clearing. It's absolute rock hard. So it's a real pleasure yesterday doing this and today. And it was just like one piece of wood from an auction. We can't replicate it. We can't get any more. So it's just, that's all it is. You know, when I spoke to Ayama-san yesterday, I said, "Whatever, take note of this number. Get me some more." He comes back a minute later with a number. "Dave, that's a Yahoo auction bid group. I can't get you any more." So. So you can see where we're going in here. Those of you who have never seen this before, the idea is we leave the black lines. The black lines remain, and they're what do the actual printing, and all the other wood has to be taken away. I don't know if we can get any closer, you know, I don't think so. Maybe a tad. So William Francis, he's going to sell woodblocks. Great, if he can find some good supply there. So I would presume it's English cherry, I guess, then. Is that what he's doing? I don't know. I know John Amos is in his own woodblocks. He's planning on selling them at some point. I don't know if he's got that far yet. John's using American cherry, which he is having resawn and dried, and he himself has got a system for laminating it onto a central core. Maybe William's doing the same thing. I hope so. The more people supplying these goods, the absolute better we all are going to be, you know. There's something else that went on here yesterday, and I said I had a really full day from like 6 o'clock right through till about 6, I guess. I don't know, carving or so. And another thing that made it really fun for me was that when I was in Ome last week, I retrieved, I'm not sure what the right word is, retrieved or picked up or got out of a drawer there, a hard drive that was sitting there. And what it is, it's my iTunes library. And in recent years, here in Asakusa, in the shop and stuff, there's no way for me to sit here play music. And I haven't anyway had long carving working days anyway. But when I was in Ome last week, I knew this carving session was coming up. So I grabbed that hard drive, and I think it's a 4 TB, maybe a 3 TB, I can't remember. And it's got my iTunes library on it. And when I say iTunes library, what I mean is all the different LP records and CDs that I got over the years. When I was living in Ome, one by one, I played them on a record player and scanned them in and whatever. So my iTunes library is simply a basic replica of the CDs and record collections. And in Ome there's a huge box full of CDs, thousands of them. The LPs are all lined up on an old shelf there. Anyway, so I brought the thing back and spent yesterday. The idea had been I was going to do shuffle and get acquainted with a bunch of old friends, stuff I hadn't listened to for a long time. It didn't work out that way. I put the shuffle on, and the first song that came up, whatever, I'm going to show my age, whatever, it doesn't matter. The first song that came up was Harry Nilsson, and what was the title? All I Think About Is You, and that was it. I clicked off the shuffle button, and I spent most of the rest of the day having a Harry Nilsson orgy. I love the guy, I love the guy. A weird character, but it seems a good character. His warmth is in the voice, And I don't sing, but we've all got this inner voice that we feel of when we're hearing a song. We sort of like mentally sing along with it or whatever. And I can't handle the top part of his range. He was a tenor. Oh my God, like what, 3-octave tenor or something? But when you get down to the bottom, he was baritone end, and that's where I feel comfortable. So I had a wonderful day yesterday, singing along in my head, with Harry. And I imagine at this point there's people watching the stream like, Harry, who's he? Because it's a while ago now, Hui, 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 round and around, round and around. Check in here. there are people who recognize Harry. Nilsson Schmilsson, yes, so. Dave doesn't listen to J-pop. No, you don't need a question mark on that. You get lime and the coconut in your head, you know. Actually, it's funny too. When I was listening to that yesterday, something I'd never, ever thought about before. Shouldn't maybe talk about this. There's a bunch of songs in his works here, where he puts on, he sings as though, you know, it's like a Jamaican voice, that lime in a coconut one, and he sings in a voice that is not his own, you know. So, and I wonder if that's permitted. It's probably not permitted these days or something. I don't know. So whatever. But yeah, the guy had some skills. Pipes, what pipes? Incredible, you know. And a sense of humor. Too bad about the drug thing, whatever. Must have shortened his life quite a lot, I guess. I don't know. Dejan was complaining about the quality of the lines here. I think they're beautiful. Chonsan is really, they're brushstrokes. He's really done it. You know, every one of the lines starts with a head, tapers with a tail. They're gorgeous. It's not just scratching here. They've brushed every one of these lines, you know. Speaking of nicely brushed lines too, I guess you saw the news the other day from the British Museum. The British Museum scored a wonderful treasure last year, I guess it was. No, earlier this year, I guess, 2020. It's in their database with a 2020 date, so I guess it's earlier this year. It turned out that somebody in Paris, for the bulk of the 20th century, has been sitting on a book of Hokusai key block drawings, a book that had been planned on being published back in the 1820s or 30s or something, but didn't get published. And this has been one of these, like an unknown manuscript, and it came to light last year. And they offered it to the British Museum, and the British Museum went ahead and got some sponsor money and grabbed it. And it's on their website now. It went up yesterday, I guess, yesterday or the day before. And I have a link, actually. I should post a link because it's hard to find. Let me see if I can find this. Hang on a sec. I think it's 103 British. This is the British Museum. Here we go. It's going to come up. It's going to come up one page from the book. Forget the iPhone. Forget your phone. This is a desktop thing. It'll come up with one page, and at the top you see a next previous link to go from page to page to page, and it enlarges really, really, really nicely. And there's information about it there. And these are Hokusai drawings. This is clearly Hokusai. They're Hokusai drawings, and they're almost at the exact perfect stage ready for carving. When I looked at them yesterday close up, they're not really quite there. They need one more go with the line work, but they would be doable. They would be makeable. How do they verify the authenticity? It's a good question. On that thing I showed you, it's a scroll. Here it is. Who painted it? Nobody knows. This book is clearly Hokusai stuff. It's either Hokusai or one of his apprentices working directly with him. Well, I don't know what else I can say. You know, I'm not the museum level of authenticator or whatever, but I've carved a million Hokusai lines in my career, and so yes, it means they're now copyrighted. So good luck on this one. So exactly. So Now, if you look at them, if you know anything about Hokusai at all, there's nobody else on the planet that could have drawn those. This is early Hokusai. Most of the images in this book, they're about Chinese legends and stuff. This is not really Japanese history we're looking at here. It's a book about Chinese legends. And it's unequivocally, absolutely Hokusai, top to bottom. I said one of his apprentices, actually, it was made at a time of his life, you can tell stylistically, from before he had a whole stable of apprentices. So this is the guy himself at work, you know. And of course, we saw that and we're thinking, oh my God, we got to do this, we can do this, we can do this, you know. So there's now 3 major groups of Hokusai designs out there. There's this book. There's the book I talked about to you before, the one in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. They've published a reproduction book of it. And then there's all the individual single sheet prints in the Victoria and Albert Museum. So there's literally now hundreds, many, many hundreds of ready-to-go Hokusai designs that could be turned into woodblock prints. But they need a person. There's no way you can set a 3D printer or a laser on this because they are drawings, not prints. You know, they haven't been translated yet into knife work. And there's no, I suppose at some point the AI can figure that out, but they're nowhere near that yet. These cannot be mechanically reproduced in woodblock print form. That's from Mir Chonsan. But we are busy. Also, for the whole book, I mean, the game wouldn't be worth the candle. The book had meaning to its society back then. So to publish it as a book made sense in 1832. Or it didn't because they canceled the project. But so to do the whole book now as a woodblock print would really be pointless. But just to grab a few of those designs, ones that have a content that will be interesting to people, grab a few of those designs, take something over to Hokusai's grave, ask permission again, and go for it, you know. Would be a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful project. I didn't flip through them all, I'm sorry. I just looked at a half a dozen. My guess, I'm guessing out loud here, my guess is you won't find that horse in there. This is a book from what did they say, 1830s or so. Those horses we were seeing, they were all from quite a bit later than that, I think. I don't know, I should keep quiet. I don't know. My guess is you probably won't find that horse in there. Have I thought about collaborating? And if we had the resources, of course, we've had the same conversation. And our problem here right now is that we have no resources. We're struggling to stay alive. We are publishing prints, and our choice of how to use our resources is to use the man hours and the manpower and the skills and the time and the money to use those resources in making new prints. That's been our choice. You know, if it turned out, for example, I'm just guessing out loud, if it turned out that the new prints we were making were not able to find a market and we were struggling and we would have printmaking skills here but nothing to make, if that were our situation, then sure, look to some of these old museums and we could use those designs as a project. But we've chosen to use our resources to make new stuff, which I think it's not a bad choice, you know. And if we could grow, this is nothing we can do today, tomorrow, but if we can grow over the coming years to the point where we've got another apprentice and another apprentice and we get a bunch of carvers here, then we would have enough range of resources that we could divert some of them to doing a project like that. But at the moment I can't. I just can't do that. It's really, really frustrating because it would be such a cool thing to do. That's also assuming that we could come to an agreement on this, and almost certainly that would not be possible because the tenor for these kind of deals was set back in the 1980s. A bunch of wood blocks were discovered in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, and they were the wood blocks for 3 of Hokusai's interesting wood print books that had been published back when he was alive. And Bigelow, one of the early collectors here, collected those blocks and sent them back to the Boston Museum of Fine Arts, where they were untouched for, I guess, whatever, almost 100 years, or maybe even more than 100 years, I don't know. And they were discovered in the MFA by a researcher looking up to find interesting things for a Japanese TV program. The researchers were in there digging to see what would be fun to show on a Japanese TV program. And they turned up these boxes and boxes of blocks. They looked more carefully. One thing led to another. And they realized, as I said, that they had the full block sets for Hokusai's book about the Sumidagawa and 2 others of his books, a book of poetry and a book of scenes of Tokyo. This was 1986, somewhere in there, mid-1980s. Anyway, one thing led to another. They got big sponsorship. The TV company sponsored, TBS sponsored it. They got JAL to sponsor back and forth. They shipped the blocks back to Japan. And the Adachi Institute of Woodblock Prints, which at that time was still really healthy and flourishing, still had good printers, good carvers, they made some, not reproductions, they made another edition from those blocks. They cleaned them up, straightened them out, tried to flatten them, recarved bits that were broken and stuff like this. And they made new edition of books from that blocks. But they didn't do it in the casual way that Dave here would like to do it. They made it as a super limited edition. They made only, I think it was 150 of each set. And they cost an absolute arm and a leg. And it became a TV special and this and that and this and that and this and that. And it was a really, really, really big deal. And I have a set of the books. And I scored them some years after this. That was happening at the bubble time. There was money all over the place. This is the end of the bubble era, mid-1980s. And years after this, sometime in the 1990s, or I forget even when, 2000s, I scored a set of these books. The guy who had them didn't really understand what it was. So I've got a set back in Ome. A set of books printed from Hokusai's actual wood blocks, but done so 100 years after the day. So anyway, the point I'm saying is that these museums and stuff, they would want to get big money, big sponsorship, special event, all that kind of stuff. There's no way they would want to publish prints from those designs in the way that we do it. Keep the prices low, keep the workmen going. They would want to do an event and a limited edition and blah, blah, blah. Unless we could convince them otherwise, I don't know, who knows. Nice, nice. Fun carving. Beautiful, beautiful lines. Good wood, sharp knife. This is the core of what I do. This is it. How are we doing over here? Somebody found some links. I don't know. No idea. Somebody says, I muted myself. Testing 1, 2, 3. Nope, nope, nope. There are people who think I should mute myself. We're all good, are we? Hey. What's happening outside? Is people stuff the garbage truck? We got so lucky yesterday, guys. So lucky. You know the deal here about making noise from construction and stuff. It's 8 to 8. You're not supposed to make, if you're doing construction work, sawing or demolition or crashing or whatever, you can't start before 8 and you must wrap it up by 8 o'clock. You know how it is. We started at 8 o'clock here actually. So yesterday I was working here about 6:30 or so. I got the camera set up. I'm trying to take video clips. I got my other camera. I'm taking video clips we want to do a video about this print when it's ready. So I get ready 6:30, carve it a little bit, carve it a little bit. Okay, Dave, get the camera out, set it up, click, 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 click record to start. And 8 o'clock, like 8:01 or something, the guys doing the crepe shop construction started up. They had done the plastering on the outside, and they spent the entire morning yesterday with grinding machines, grinding and flattening and buffing the plaster. And if it had happened a day earlier or a day later, it was Friday. If it had happened on Thursday or Saturday, we would have been just very lucky. But it screwed me for the video recording, so I had to put my own camera away and come back, you know. Crepes. We're in the middle of the Shibuification of Asakusa. We'll make it more like Harajuku or something. I don't know. No idea. Oops. Asakusa is becoming a playground, quote, playground, unquote, for young girls. Young girls, not the teeny bopper type girls that do Harajuku. I should explain. We're talking about college-age girls and up. And they come here now in pairs. They rent their kimonos. And today, it's a sunny weekend. They are going to be all over the place today. They rent their kimonos. The kimono rental shop has come back to life here next door. And what's really common is they don't rent the stupid polyester kimonos that the foreigners do. The foreigners don't know. There's just something, there's a kimono-shaped thing, and they'll get a piece of this polyester yukata, wrap it around themselves, prance around town. They don't know. That's okay. That's fine for foreigners. But these Japanese girls who do this, they have had some experience. I mean, they're not like their mother's era who have lived with kimono, but they do know something about this. They've maybe had kimono when they were children for a festival or for a graduation ceremony, stuff like that. So they know something about this. So the shops rent different kind of stuff to these girls. And what's really, really common is the Taisho blend. And that's partly why it's here in Asakusa. So the girls will rent a kimono with a little French hat that sits sideways on their head with a feather behind their ear and stuff like that. It's a blend going back to whatever. They call it in Japanese, they call Taisho Roman. And for us it's 1920s, 30s, but in Western society it was a totally different feel and mood. And that's what's become really, really popular here among these girls. And a lot of the restaurants and cafes and stuff, they've prepared drinks and blend mixes and stuff that were popular in the Taisho era. So that seems that's going to be one of the new hip things to do in Asakusa. Go back in time, not to Edo time, but to go back to the 1920s. And that fits with our street here because, of course, because all these entertainers, the people whose pictures are on the signs you see, that's their main era as well, pre-TV era. So that's the latest trend here in Tokyo, at least in this part of town. You know. And we were chatting about this the other day after we heard that it was going to be a crepe shop, you know. And when you speak of that era, Taisho Roman, there was actually a whole bunch of woodblock printmaking done there, done at that time. The famous designer of the day, Takehisa Yumeji. Takehisa Yumeji. Lots of his designs were done as woodblock prints. And he was also big in book design, illustration design. Lots of it was done as woodblock prints. So that brings up the idea, you know, that we could actually think about getting on that bandwagon. In that when we speak of Japanese woodblock prints, most Japanese think of it as ukiyo-e. But actually there was a whole bunch of Japanese woodblock printmaking done in exactly that era, the Taisho era. Dave's problem with it is that I don't like it at all, those prints. They're always of, what do you call them? Women with a sort of a, what's the English word? I don't know. When the woman is weak and she's going to die of tuberculosis, consumptive, and weak, consumptive women make up most of those pictures. If you Google Takehisa Yumeji and look for the images, you'll see the kind of stuff I mean. And for me, it's dreary, dreary, dreary. I'm not interested in that at all. But that's the mood that would fit what these girls would like to see if they were looking for a souvenir or something. So we were thinking about this, you know, I don't know. Zoos in Japan, don't even talk about it. Forget it. Just write it off. Zoos in Japan, forget it. Well, zoos all over the world now, really, they're sort of closing up, aren't they? Most cities now are not accepting the idea that you put these things like elephants in a cage and then keep them, you know. The contemporary world obviously is moving on. And now that we have good video and good whatever and stuff like that, there's no excuse anymore, I think. Most people understand for caging animals in little concrete boxes, you know. I guess some zoos around the world are trying to do the thing where you give them a wide open space to play, whatever. Here in Japan, that's obviously not easy. So if you come to Japan looking for zoos, you're kind of wasting your time, I think. My mother got really upset about that. Is my mother here this morning? I don't know. The place I used to live, Hamura Town, they were a little bit rich at one point. They got some good tax revenue because they put a factory zone in their zoning plan. And they had a bunch of revenue. So they opened Hamura Zoo. And they had a giraffe and some stuff in, whatever. And they were all in these tiny little concrete boxes. And my mother went around there. She must have maybe taken the kids out for a day or something when she was here. They'd be back in 1987 or something. And they went to the zoo and she came back just like fuming. Let's call the police, you know, whatever. Is my mother here today? Speaking of her, I haven't seen. Has she checked in today? Mom, are you here? Tell us about the Hamura Zoo. You're talking about images on websites and stuff, museums making their making their images available to use, but it's always, 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 always non-commercial. If you have a commercial project in mind, absolutely you cannot do that. Yeah, Mum is here. It's hopeless. It was so sad for the animals. Yes, so. The zoo, I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been back to Hammer for years. I really don't know. But also something to mention, that was 1986. There was two things. My mother was upset about the animals in the zoo, but also walking around town, you'd see dogs. They're chained up outside their house, with a little dog house that was just freezing or no protection from the sun and stuff like that. And my mother also, I remember she was upset about this. And that has changed. That's 180 degrees change now. The zoo I can't speak for, but local treatment of animals. Before it was hands off. You didn't even think about it. Your neighbor has a dog that's in the sunshine and no water. You didn't think about it. But over the years, over the 4 decades there's been a complete social change. And now nobody can get away with that stuff anymore at all. Dogs here in Japan now are treated, it's the family, they're on the family register. I don't even know. So that's changed. If Mom is still thinking about that, you don't see those dogs anymore outside in the boiling sunshine. No. I can't say never, but it's not a thing in every block. It used to be just everywhere. Mistreatment and maltreatment of dogs, but that's pretty much now become a thing of the past. Speaking of my mother, how you doing, Mom? I spoke to her I spoke to you on Skype a few days ago, last week. You doing okay? She's not conversation here. So. My mother's frustrated because she's stuck at home, can't really get out much. The virus thing, So it's been a tough 6 months for her sitting at home, And me too. The last time I went to a restaurant, I don't even remember, back in March, half a year ago. It's half a year since I've had a nice, pleasant meal outside, Half a year. Soka, that'll be it, eh? We closed on March 17th. What's the date now? September 5th. Yeah, another week or so and we'll have been closed half a year. We closed on March 17th. April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah. So these messages from my mother. I'm good, thanks. I just had tea with Sherry. And there's this image of this British lady. She's got tea and she's pouring booze into it. So, Mom, you should capitalize the S there. This is my sister's name. My sister is Sherry. So it's always a good joke, I guess. But the image of my mother, this elegant British lady having tea with Sherry. Is sherry still a thing? Do people actually drink it? I don't know. I don't even know if I've ever had any. I don't even know what it is. Is sherry wine or is it liquor? I don't even know. There's Dave's ignorance about that. I have the image of sherry in casks, right? I don't know. Anybody tell me what it is? It's a fortified wine. That, of course, I don't know what it means. So it's a wine. Fortified means they've dumped alcohol into it. I'm sorry, I still don't know what that means. So that's about the resolution of the stream. I can't stream in multiple resolutions. I only stream at one resolution. I stream at 1080. And what happens when you download from Twitch? I'm sorry, I can't control that. I think when you look at the on-demand streams later on, you can get those at lower resolutions. I'm sorry, but I myself, I can't stream at multiple resolutions, of course. Says Dave, not 100% sure about this, but I think that's what I'm doing. My broadcast software says set the resolution. I set it and press go, and away we go. Now, remember, in YouTube, when you can get multiple resolutions, you're not looking at it live. You're looking at, YouTube has prepared the thing at multiple resolutions, Okay, we've come up one half of the wing. Very nice. Looks good so far. Now let's go back down the other half. The other half was going to be easier. You can see, look at this. This was all intercrossed. The other half's just going to be just lines. Shouldn't take so long. How's our time? We're okay? 9:03, so we're not going to get a chance to finish this. He could if he wants to. What? Could meaning what? I could stream at multiple resolutions? I need to be partnered. Soka. Ha 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 ha. So it is my fault. Is that the idea? What about in the on-demand though? Is the on-demand stuff, when you want to look at last week's stream, is that available multiple resolutions? Please don't make things my fault. Have to be partnered. It's both. It's this. It's YouTube as well. We're well past 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, but I don't get a play button because I don't have AdSense running, or whatever it's called, or ad something, or whatever, AdWords, or. We were going to make our own play button, but time, no time for fooling around with jokes and stuff like that. If I fool around with YouTube, it should be just making another video. Okay, now look at this. I don't know if you can see, I don't know how closely you can see this. The wing is split into left half and right half, and most of the lines stay on their own half. But Chonsand wrote one line, and he brought it into the right-hand side. I don't think that would happen in real life. I think these bars on each side would not cross that line. So I think I'm just going to cut it off here. This is not a mistake. I think just that line in real life would not be there. It's okay, Dave, we got the resolution options until today. Twitch handles those as first come, first served. I don't know what that means. First come, first serve. Many people signing on, you mean? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Soka, Friday night they're busy. I don't know. I don't know.はい、おはようございます。どうも。
じゃあ置いてきますね。
お願いします。
はい、どうも。
はい、いつもありがとうございます。
お願いします。
That package is good news for any of you who are living in America and who are subscribers to this year's print series, or actually any back number print series. Cameron did the billing for this month's prints on September the 1st. There's been payments coming in. Ome has been packing, and because we can't ship directly to the US, we're batching them by FedEx, and we have a FedEx shipment leaving Monday morning. And this is a package coming to me now from the Ome workshop. They have sent over all the subscription prints for this month for America. And I will be putting those in a FedEx box. It'll be most of my work Sunday. It's going to chew up my time on Sunday. And they will leave here by FedEx Monday morning. So the prints get shipped 3 times. They get shipped from Ome to here once in bulk. Then they're going to all get sorted out and cataloged and numbered and invoiced and whatever, then put into the FedEx shipment for Jed. That'll leave Monday. And then when they arrive over there, Jed's assistant, Micah-san, I don't know how to pronounce her name, M-I-C-A. She puts them in the USPS, if it still exists, and out they go. So by the time you get your print, it's a well-traveled print, actually. It's come back here. It was made here in Asakusa, the girls upstairs. Then I shipped them to Ome. After checking and packing and checking them here, I shipped them to Ome. They do the packaging, send them back here, and out they go. So I guess they have a nice carbon footprint. But to offset that, they're going to last 200 years, so whatever. How does it work with single prints that aren't part of subscriptions? Exactly the same. I know I said in this box are subscription prints, but also in this box are orders that came over our website, paid through PayPal, whatever. Ome packaged them. I never saw those. We didn't make those. We made the prints here years ago. Ome takes them out of their inventory, puts them into this box. So yes, this box is a combination. It's subscription prints and it's single sheet prints. And they've sent me 2 boxes. This is the smaller prints. Yesterday they sent me another box, which is things like the Great Wave. All the Great Wave orders that came through this last few days, this last week or so, for America are now in here waiting. So I have a huge puzzle. I've got Great Wave subscriptions, boxes, subscription packages, and I have a cubicle FedEx 25 kilogram box to fit them all into. It's one of the real pleasures of my week. Every 2 weeks we do this. It's a real pleasure. I spread them all out on the floor. There's my cube. How do I get all this stuff into that cube with as little waste as possible? Also, speaking about shipping and stamps and stuff, there's another bit of news on the shipping thing that's coming up that will not be such good news for many people. And this one's out of our control. If we go back about, I don't even remember when it was, 15 years ago or something like this, or 12 or 15 years ago, I was sending out subscription prints myself. It was before Moko Hankan. And what we were doing was we would batch them all up, get them all ready. Then I took them down to the post office in boxes and stuff, dumped the box on the counter. And with the lady there, we weighed them up and ran them off and ran them through. And I didn't put postage on them. I paid her a single lump sum for that. And she took all those packages and stamp, put her little round blah, blah, blah thing on it, whatever. Didn't even think anything about just a normal way to send stuff. People received the packages from Japan, they opened it up, got the print, everybody was happy. One day at the post office with her, they had a real problem. Their stamp thing has a date clicker inside, and the date clicker was futzed, and she couldn't do this because it had the wrong date. And she's like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, hey, I'm just bringing my stuff to the post office counter. This is not my problem, it's your problem. And she said, well, let's put stamps on them. And I'm like, you want me to stand here and lick and stick stamps for 200? But she's, no, we'll do it. It's our mistake, it's our mistake, it's our mistake. So I paid the same money. Instead of her doing bang, 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 she and her friends in the post office, lick, stick, lick, stick, they put stamps on them. The feedback from the collectors that month was insane. Oh my God, it's a wonderful bonus. I gave the stamps to my nephew, Japanese, and one of the stamps had it was a Doraemon picture or something, I don't even remember. The collectors went nuts. Dave says, okay, that's the way you want it, that's the way you want it. So after that, every month, we went in advance to the post office. We knew roughly how much we needed. We bought a bunch of, what do you call them? Commemorative stamps and put them on the packages. We've been doing that now for years and years and years. Any recent subscription customer of ours, that's all they've ever seen. And we're really careful. We never put the same stamps on 2 months in a row, so people get different postage stamps. And now that I've got everybody excited about this, the point about my bad news is that's going to come to an end probably in November. The post office is switching to online electronic systems, bit by bit by bit by bit. Part of it is, we've talked about it before, the American Stop Act. America wants all packages to be announced in advance before they're put on airplanes. And that means we have to move to an electronic system. The changes are all happening, and those electronic packages cannot be paid by postage stamp. They must be paid by your credit account in the post office. So we will again be in a situation, we take the packages to the post office. These will all be previously registered with them through the computer system. We just dump them and run. But it means no stamps. And the first month that hits, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to get a reverse of the emails that I got 15 years ago. Dave, where's my stamps this month? My nephew is waiting. And I'm going to have to say, I'm sorry, that's out of my control. It's not even, we tried to go around this. Look, let us prepay and blah, blah, blah. They cannot do it. Their system is moving to a non-stamp thing. And I don't know if that means that all the post offices around the world have given up on this and there won't be postage stamps anymore. I don't know anything about that. But we will not be able to do our own mass mailings with postage stamps. And that's going to be fully in effect, I think, certainly by the beginning of the year. The legal requirement is by the beginning of the year, but it may actually swing in November. We don't know. Welcome to efficiency. This is Europe as well. This is global. This is not specifically the American problem. The post office is switching to the electronic registration system. Time check, show and tell. Soka. All right, hi. Print our own stamps. Well, what's inside the package is our own printed interesting Japanese picture. That's what's inside it. So, When does the Patreon Chibi summer print arrive? They're all made now. The Patreon Chibis are all made, and they are being shipped batch by batch by batch by batch. Ishigami-san and Yasui-san over in Ome are shipping them out batch by batch by batch. If you're in Australia, I still can't get it to you. They're holding for Australia because there are no planes, not enough planes going back and forth to Australia. If you're in Europe, we've mailed it. If you're in America, it will also be in this box. Patreon Chibis are also in this box. If you want to check for sure about the Patreon Chibi, you can drop an email to Cameron. He's got all the documentation on this, and he can confirm, yep, you're in there, the label was printed, you're good to go, just hang on till it gets there. Or, oops, what's your address? It's wrong or something. So if you're worried about it, check with Cameron. But yes, the Patreon Chibis are up and running and made and in the post. Okay, show and tell, show and tell. Okay, this is a real classic show and tell. These are wooden block prints. They're a little bit big. We've had enough fooling around on show and tell recently. It's time to look at some real prints. Excuse me. Kyogen. Kyogen are the dance episodes that are structured in the middle of a no theater. The one where people wear the masks and don't move, and there's a pine tree in the background and maybe some flaming fire outside. Very slow moving, very traditional. I've never been to one. But in the middle of different performances of No, there are dance episodes, comedy episodes, and they're called Kyogen. And somebody can read the character, right? John can read too. John, congratulations. You've learned the second kanji that everybody learns here. Whatever. How about this one, John? Come on, let's go. Kyogen, their picture, Kyogen ga, picture. And this is Taikan, collection. A wonderful, stupendous collection. John just graduated kindergarten. Sorry guys, excuse me. And it's a collection. And this would be published in, the date's inside. It's, this is 1960s. 1960s. And this is a post-war publication of I should open them all. We can look at the pictures, right, Dave? This is volume 2 of a 5-volume set. Here, there's a package of information here. There were 50 prints in the set, and these were published in Kyoto. And that's an important point, as we'll see in a minute when we see the prints. These prints were not made in Tokyo. They're very much a Kyoto style of printing, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's Kyogen ga Taikan. Showa 40. Showa 40. I'm Showa 26, 1951. 26, 36, 40. 14 years on 1951, 65. 1965 here. Yamaguchi is the editor of the series, the designer of these prints. They didn't even put his name on the label, look at that. And this is Kyoto Shoin, a print publishing company in Kyoto. They are now gone. And I'll leave this here because I want to come back to that. The designer's name is not even on there. Nanda. Look at that. They didn't put the designer's name on the label. It's a known guy. His name is Yamaguchi. Okay, Soka. That's the editor's name. Sorry. Yamaguchi is the designer. Something Shu. Yamaguchi Ryo. Yamaguchi Ryo Shu. I don't know. Anyway, let's look at the freaking prints. Enough of the background. They are hugely pasted into these god-awful things. This was a subscription series of prints, and they're a set of designs, as I said, showing dance episodes, the Kyogen comedy dance episodes that are from. And last night, before I brought it down, I took one out. This is super. It's glued in to the backing sheet here at 1, 2, 3, 4 places, and it took me a freaking half hour to get it out of here, and it's already damaged. This paper has already started to gather that brittleness that we can tell when it's held in contact with acid paper. And this is only 1960s, 70, 80, 90, 100. This is 50 years old. If we leave it in here longer, these prints will become so brittle, like the ones we saw in that Junjosuri last week. You pick them up and they just crumble on the corners. So I will get our staff here to get these out of here. Now, we talked about Kyoto. Here's the deal. These are printed on washi in basically the same way as the prints we make here. Carve the block, print the print. But any white you see in the Kyoto prints is white pigment. Any white you see in the Tokyo prints, the classical ukiyo-e, is white paper showing through. This is printed, everything here is opaque pigments. They are slathered onto the block and dabbed and rubbed lightly from the back side. I mean, they are still woodblock prints. You can see them from the back. It's come through to some extent. There's quite a severe matte burn on this too. You can see the line from the matte. And let's zoom in. Let's zoom in, let's zoom in. I don't know the particular story here. I should have done a bit of research. This is number 2 in the set. Something Oni, something Devil, something Water. I don't know. They are all very, very, very well-known episodes. Anybody in Japanese culture who knows a little bit about this will instantly recognize every one of these episodes. Do we need light on or off? Let's see. Yeah, on is better, can I? And as prints, they are very, very, very nicely made prints. The carving, let me get a pointer here. The carving is full of, it's rough, it's scratch carving. Like the roughness you see here. That's not bad printing, it's not tamari, it's printed, it's carved this way. And around the edge of his kimono, we can see it's very much scratch printing. And the idea, of course, is to give the impression that the thing is actually, we're looking at a brush painting. It's very, 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 very well done. I'm sorry not to have the episode for you here. There's a guy with a mask as a devil. Somebody else is down here, and I don't know the story. But if you Google Kyogen, devil, water, something, the story will come up very quickly. Look at the gradations. They've put a skin tone under the whole head. They've put a blue on top to show that the guy's bald patch, and there's a flush on his cheek. Very, very nice stuff. Very, very nice stuff. Looking for his contact lenses, yeah, whatever, who knows. And as I said, it was a subscription series and later sold as a full set. And on the label here, we have actually the information about the prices and stuff. And this set number 2, it was set 2 of 5. There were 50 altogether. And it says it's a Hanga set of 10 done in 5 shipments. And each shipment was 6,000 yen. Now, this is expensive. This is what did I say it was? 1960. I forgot what I said already. 1966? I forget what I said. Something like this. And if you're a Kaien, if you're a member of their club, then it's only 5,000 yen. So if you want to get them a bit at a time, they're 6,000 yen for a pack of 2. Remember, it's a set of 10, comes in 5 shipments, 6,000 yen. So each print would have been 3,000 yen at that time. And I think in the 1960s, 3,000 yen is kind of a good bunch of money. These were not trivially cheap. Maybe it's like $100 now or something. I don't know the exact number. Let's get through them. Actually, I've seen this before. I really should have done a little bit of research to learn what these are about. One guy is tied up. The other guy is tied to a stick. That would be enough to tell everybody what's going on here. And we have the same construction. Eh? The whites are all dabbed on it. Can you see how dabby this is? Let me zoom in until we lose our focus here. Hang on a sec. There we are. You can see the white, right? The black and the gray are printed first here, and then the white is bobbed. And the white goes on the wood block. The paper goes down. It may have even been dry paper, and then lightly pressed and dabbed from the back. And the white Gofun pigment just sits on top of it. Completely different from the way that most of the prints you see here are made. And this would not have been export stuff. These were for a domestic market. There's no way that this was aimed at foreigners. Absolutely not at all. None of the material is in English. No theater is not a high target for the foreigners. It's incomprehensible unless you really know the language and the culture. These were domestic. These were absolutely domestic market. There's a bit of metallic pigment on the sword, if I can find a angle to reflect it. Yeah, there it is, you can see. The sword has a reflective movement. And the images, the events, there's nothing serious about these. They are all comedy, totally comedy dances. They're all patterns that were set for hundreds of years. Everybody knows exactly what the story is. It's like a a vaudeville show where the guy stands up and tells jokes and says, hey, I saw you with your wife last night. That was no wife, that was blah, blah. Everybody knows the punchline in advance. Doesn't matter. You're enjoying the presentation and the way these things are put forward. As I said, I've got 10 of them here. There's 50 in the full set. If they came up on auction now or in one of the shops downtown, to buy the full set of 50 now would be, I don't know, 200,000 yen, about $2,000 or something. That's no less. Okay, that's bad. I got the joke wrong, sorry. Shows you how long I've been out of North America, whatever, it's okay. And these are nicely done, you know. The expressions are there. It's nicely, nicely, nicely done. Yeah, it's funny. So somebody's got a conversion here. It's 3,000 yen would be now 13,000. That actually makes sense because Adachi's standard print price these days is 13,000 yen. For an Oban basic print in Adachi's catalog, it's 13,000. But actually, having said that, that's a lot fewer colors than this. This has a lot more colors. Yeah, I'm supposed to know this one. It's the guy with the knife and the sea bream. There's a patter, there's a joke. It's a standard joke. The no performances would run for hours and hours and hours, 4, 5, 6 hours. And in the intermediate section, like between the acts or whatever, come the Kyogen dances. Sounds like Aoyama-san. Didn't think he was coming in today. See, bream. The joke about the bream, of course, in Japanese is tai, and it means there's some kind of celebratory message going on. It's omede tai. What have we got here? All the people over 70 in Asakusa know every story. I tell you, probably all the people in Japan over 50 or so. I'm just guessing here. But this is generic to the culture because kids get these things in their school textbooks, and lots of these things get referred to in the popular culture. Like when there's some TV program going on with a couple of jokers slapping each other around, they will slip back into this mode for a minute and refer back to one of these old stories. So they are part of the general culture here. It's not just totally granddad and grandma who know about these, or people who specifically study the arts. I said there's 50 in this set, and I don't know that anybody would know all 50, but the most popular ones absolutely would be known. We're going to be putting these on our website, and when we do, Rose-san will look up some of the background, and we will tell the stories, or a little bit, or at least we will link to a place where we can get the story on that. That reminds me too. A week ago we did a show and tell here of the bridges, Hokusai's bridges. They are now in the collection online. If you go to the Mokuhankan collection, and if you look for the search box, you'll see the set Hokusai bridges. The ones we saw last week are now online in very high resolution. We haven't got a large discussion of them yet. What I've been doing is as soon as these scans are ready, I've been putting the scans up, and we'll fill in the details later once we learn what they are. And we'll do the same thing with this. Oh, also, coming up later this afternoon, that book we showed you last week. Remember the book I showed you, the 12 pictures of the monthly scenes through the year, that gorgeous book? I got the pictures last night from Watanabe-san, or last night, a couple of days ago, from Watanabe-san. That will be going up on the collection any minute now. Any minute now. Yeah, same thing. People think about the white. It looks really funny. It does. I myself, I'm not a fan of the Kyoto print style. If I could only have one or the other, I will, of course. And we've spent our working life here. We make prints in the Tokyo style. I'm not a fan of this myself, but it is what it is, and people need to see about this. I think it's the same guy, and it's the same. We had the same dude just a minute here. We did. He's got the same label, the same marker. There's obviously a lot to learn about this that I don't know. And here we are, back to where we started. As I said, it's a set of 10, and there were 5 of these packages making up a full set of 50. And after this, these came first, these subscription series. And after the subscription thing was finished and all the 50 prints were ready, they then started to sell them as an actual finished album package. And that was a bit of a different kind of packaging. So these are out there. This is not stupendously rare. If anybody with an interest in this stuff can actually find these in the old bookstores. A full set, as I said, would run about 200,000 yen, maybe $2,000. And it's sort of do it now, because all this packaging is terrible packaging. And the prints, as they sit in shelves all over Japan right now, they are all dying a terrible death as we sit here talking about them. They are glued strongly to terrible paper, and they are dying day by day by day by day. Anyway, there we go. There we have it. It's Saturday afternoon. I'm now going to get back to my carving. We will be back here on the stream Monday morning. I'm not sure what work I'll be doing. It could be more color blocks for this print. Maybe they will be finished. The share certificates are on my bench here. I'm still supposed to number and sign and seal and mail the share certificates. I haven't done that yet. So whatever, Monday morning we will be doing something. It's Saturday morning for me, Friday evening for everybody. I'll be back here Monday morning, Sunday evening for people in most places in the world. Good, I got some work done today. Thank you very much. See some nice work. I'll follow the conversation later when I pick it up at lunchtime, as usual. Thanks for being with us today, guys. Thanks very much, and I'll see you 2 days minus 90 minutes. Bye-bye for now. No dropped frames. Ooh, 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 ooh.